Hello and welcome to the Anna Asks podcast, a podcast for people and parents looking for actual answers to big questions with me, author, speaker, mentor and changemaker Anna Cusack. Here on this podcast, we will have conversations that crack us wide open so we can adult with integrity, meet our own children where they are at, and do our bit to give everyone else's the best shot at life too. From pregnancy to prejudice, parenting to the pandemic, sleep to sexuality to social justice, we'll be digging into the topics that matter to all of us, whether we like it or not. There are three primary aims of the Anna Asks podcast. These are to 1, pass the mic, 2, pay the rent, and 3, become and raise better humans. The people who hold the most meaningful insights in relation to some of the most burning questions of our time are the ones who we are least likely to see platformed in our white man's world. They are the ones who challenge the status quo with their opinions, or who, by virtue of their race, gender expression, disability, or other combination of personal characteristics, were never welcomed into mainstream social systems in the first place. The guests you will hear from are the people who, in discussing their lived experiences and sharing their expertise, can change the way we, and in turn our kids, understand and relate to others. Together, we hope to break down stigma and social conditioning, encourage self-reflection, and inspire all of us to take action towards the creation of the radically inclusive communities we crave. While some of the authors, activists, and exceptional humans on this show are from more privileged social standings and will have donated their time, many have not. Not everyone can work for free, and I recognise exposure is not enough when you need to put food on the table. Whenever you hear a marginalised person on this podcast, you will know that they are being paid fairly as part of my commitment to paying the rent. If you support this aim and learn from the content found here, I would ask you to invest in your allyship and consider becoming a patron of the podcast, either as a one-off donation or as a regular contributor of $5 a month. All donations will be directed in full to paying the diverse voices you hear from. The link to donate is in the show notes. If you haven't noticed yet, this podcast is unapologetically feminist, anti-racist, and aligns with just about every other cause you can imagine feminist anti-racists marching for. Bringing up babies in today's world is more complex than colour coordinating your playroom, and conscious parenting takes more than meditation and sending out love and light. Here, we believe that raising the next generation is one of, if not the most powerful way to create lasting change. We value interpersonal connection through conversation and view story as a potent way to plant the seeds of social justice. Listening in will not always be comfortable, but it will undoubtedly open your eyes to new ways of looking at the world and help you to raise your family in it in a way that brings the changes you wish to see one step closer. I don't want to scare you away, but I do want to say that if you have felt frightened about where the world is headed, if you felt that everything is so unfair and you can't even get your own life together, let alone anyone else's, I'm with you. And I have hope. I believe this podcast, this platform, is one of those start points for me and for many of my listeners. And I'm hoping it is for you too. I am ready to shut up and listen to the people we should have been listening to from the start. To learn and cry, to rage and to laugh with them as well. Pass the mic, pay the rent, become and raise better humans. Welcome to the evolution of my work, the Anna Asks podcast. I'm so glad you're here. Let's make waves. I acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which I record this podcast, the Awabakal people, and pay my respect to their elders past, present, and emerging. I acknowledge that sovereignty has never been ceded, and that Aboriginal, Torres Strait Islander, and First Nations peoples everywhere remain strong in their connection to land, sea, sky, and culture. This is stolen land. It always was and always will be Aboriginal land.